I feel like I have some local expertise in this issue. I wrote the current Massachusetts Parental Notification Law, Chapter 31, Section 32A, which passed in 1995 and was signed in 1996. I also wrote H406, which I believe is the best bill. And I also wrote H437, which we originally introduced in 2003 as H1445, and was actually introduced each year later, issued by Representative Jones as H437. My own experience across the state and with my own children, having written the current notification laws, it doesn't work. Schools do not notify their children. They're hostile often to that. They didn't even notify my kids, and I told them that I wrote the law, and they still ignored that. They ignored mine. The opt-out does not work. It should be opt-in, as these bills say, like everything else in the school system is opt-in. And also, the new bills cover a broader range of issues. When we wrote that in 1995, we didn't know that the homosexual agenda would become so prevalent in the school system. These sort of close that loop, as someone just said. Parents feel like the schools and the legislature is against them. The kinds of things that are being given to kids, I mean, I could go through, the Celebrate Bisexual Awareness Day, the handouts on transgenderism, the handouts on if you haven't slept with someone of the same sex, how do you know you wouldn't like that? All that happened in my own kids' schools. We've all, many of us have heard about Kevin Jennings, the Safe Schools Czar, who his GLSEN conference in 2000, which we had someone go to, talk kids about literally inserting your fist. Excuse me for saying this, I'll get through some about the child's rectum. This was taught to kids 12 and older. The Department of Education fired 3 people over that incident. The legislature reacted to that incident by giving GLSEN more money. In 2005, the same organization handed out kids at Brookline High School something known as the Little Black Book, which, among other things, talked about how you can urinate on someone for pleasure. The governor of the state went on television distancing himself from that act. The legislature reacted by writing GLSEN into the state law in the Governor's Commission for Gay and Lesbian Youth, and they actually meet in schools and talk to kids. This is what parents are up against. My friend David Parker here will tell you his story. He was told his kindergartner could not be informed of his kindergartner being told about homosexuality, and a federal judge a year and a half ago said, yes, because of the current Massachusetts law, parents, even in kindergarten, do not have to be notified by the school or be able to be opted out on homosexuality issues. That's why these are very necessary, so I presented David Parker.
Please give my introduction. I'm for the Parental Rights Bill, H405. I was actually arrested, jailed, and banned from entering Lexington school property in 2005, where I requested parental notification before the administration talks about homosexuality or heterosexuality, for that matter, gay marriage and transgenderism. I'm not sure you actually hear things like reproductive health and the sexuality and the framework. I'm not sure you quite understand what happens at the front lines, what actually happens in the schools. You know very well that there's a polarization. There's people on the other side that take advantage of this and take advantage of parents, which they have the government behind them. I don't, because we're appealing to the legislature to balance the rights. You've affirmed, not all of you, gay marriage and gay rights. We're asking you to balance it in the schools by affirming and supporting parental rights. We need a stronger parental rights statute. The old one is completely ineffective. Let me give you an example of kind of the linguistic dance we did. I went in and asked, because I knew they were going to do this, introduce homosexuality to young children. I was told by the school committee chairman, this was before the arrest, 4 months of asking, we will never allow notification or opt-out. We can't trust parents with these issues. I'm not going to say his name. That homosexuality was not primarily a human sexuality issue. That's exact language in the current statute. We were told it's not a human sexuality issue, it's a civil rights issue. That homosexual, gay, lesbian, transgender families need to be discussed. That gay marriage and homosexuality wasn't in the formal curriculum. Of course, now they admit it is after the lawsuit brought it out. That gay marriage is legal and homosexuality is protected under anti-discrimination law. So is religion. That doesn't mean you can go in and affirm Christianity. It was by this contorted logic that the school administration skirted the parental notification statute. Clearly, the intent of the statute was being circumvented. We should all admit this. And the notion of the parent being the primary director and overseer of these areas needs to be maintained. The terms gay, transgender, lesbian, family do not even make linguistic sense. The adjective actually does not even describe the noun. It is playing sexual identity politics with our children. Judge Mark Wolf in his ruling referred to changing the minds of our children pertaining to homosexuality. Judge Sandra Lynch of the First Circuit Court stated that the reading of the book King and King to second graders after my arrest was precisely intended to influence small impressionable children towards embracing gay marriage. I'll wrap up. Though we may have a different position on homosexuality, we do have a common interest in achieving a degree of unity and coexistence in society through a balance of rights. This new parental rights bill achieves that common goal. This legislature, as I said, has affirmed gay marriage and supported gay rights. It's now time to affirm and support parental rights in the form of a stronger and more comprehensive notification statute to keep up with the times. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions? Senator?
I'm wondering if any of the panelists could offer examples to members of the committee of other subject areas within the curriculum framework that currently are under an opt-in policy for parents?
I would say that everything is opt-in. I don't think there's anything where they say we're going to put your kid in and then there's this opt-out process. That was sort of invented in our bill, but it's an unusual thing. It just doesn't exist anywhere else. And actually, a lot of school systems in Massachusetts have introduced the opt-in. Now, what they found out, which Planned Parenthood doesn't like, was a lot of parents don't take it because they see what's in it and they don't like it. So it puts the onus on the schools to sell it to the parents and say, yes, this is good. But no, there's no other opt-out thing, I think, anywhere.
I think I know what you're getting at. For me, opt-in, it demands explicit and timely and detailed notification. Opt-out simply doesn't work when you know how it translates into how it's implemented. If it's opt-in, it requires your signature or requires some type of formal approval, and you get the explicit information first in a timely manner. That is why this makes all the difference. This wouldn't have happened.
Not sure, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that question, because Mr. Campbell said earlier that you would like human sexuality curriculum to be opt-in, as is everything else in Massachusetts curriculum. And it's my understanding that parents at the beginning of the year do not receive a notice that says, this year we'll be teaching algebra, this year we'll be teaching, the Civil War, or whatever it may be. Please let us know if you would like your child to participate in this curriculum. Is that, I just want to make sure I understand you correctly.
Well, there's algebra is nobody outside of algebra.
But parents don't receive a notice like that,
Well, of
correct?
course not. Nobody, it's not a controversial subject. There's no way to opt out of algebra. I suppose there is, but no. We're talking about, anything that is not absolutely required. Now, algebra is required. If algebra weren't required, what they would do is just let you take it if you wanted to. But if algebra is required, you put in it. And that's the way it is with everything. Everything that's required, you put in. Everything that's not required, you go in if you want to. So that's how it works.
Are there any other questions for the panel? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony.